And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the European Pro League Season 27. It's good to be back here as we have to witness Team Next Level versus Zero Tenacity to kick things off altogether. There's been a lot of Dota being played out right now, which is, we're kind of getting used to it since there's been absolutely no DPC, absolutely no way to regulate what's been happening. But right now, with the qualifiers and everything happening for the Esports World Cup, for the International, and we're having Wallachia still being played out, does explain why I've been not that present and why the group stage has been a match or two. But we're slowly building up. We're slowly going to get there, and you guys are going to watch a lot more matches. But let's see what's been cooking here. So, Team Next Level, they're going to open things up with the Shadow Fiend side by side with Tusk, Centaur, and Dark Willow. When I was checking this out, I was thinking that the second support might have been the Shadow Shaman, as he hasn't been banned out, and at the same time, he really hasn't been picked out, so it could be a good chance for Zero Tenacity if it's not out of the game just yet. And at the same time, I'm recovering from a cold, so apologies for any weird voice related things, as these things can be unpredictable. But yeah, I do like the combination between the Dark Willow and the Tusk as a nice setup being brought in for the Shadow Fiend. Question is it going to be dual race, reliving that role and taking him into the mid lane, or is it going to be a safe lane choice, which they have already gone for in their previous matchup versus Aim Possible, which, it's a nice hero to have around, being picked up by UI super fast for the farm, but at the same time he always throws you into that early game to finish things up as soon as possible. As in this game, it could be a similar scenario, as Zero Tenacity, they have opted in for Dawnbreaker and Sven as a combination. I do like the Dev Prophet as well, which brings in a lot of, well, presumably mid lane option here. I'm seeing her and the Dawnbreaker as both really viable options, but nevertheless, you do have the insane tower push, you do have the insane magic damage. It is going to force out Team Next Level to, force out BKBs as soon as possible, but that is not really going to counteract enough from the Sven coming in. Thankfully, there's, well, only two heroes in melee, but ever so, with the Tusk being there, with the snowballs, you always will have a good situation for, a lot of heroes being huddled up and let go of that cleave to the best of your ability. And of course, set things up really nicely with the Solar Guardian. I love the fact that Dawnbreaker, well, is once again viable, as the patch, with the 3 iterations it has undergone, she's still settling in. She's once again the super dynamic lady just jumping across the map, dealing insane amounts of damage. And in this scenario versus Team Next Level, it is looking pretty strong. They have 3 insanely squishy heroes. Centaur could be a treat, especially with the Retaliate, and if he goes in for an early Blade Mail to make life pretty difficult. But if Team Next Level rely only on him as their core frontliner, that could be a little bit awkward. So, in terms of last picks, Team Next Level are going to take away Puck and the Queen of Pain, so they're not buying into Death Prophet or Dawnbreaker being in that position, which actually it is quite right. It is going to be Invoker, so completely overlooked on the part that Death Prophet is also a viable support. Kind of gotten a little bit too used to seeing her as an offlaning position, but there's that. The game has changed since then. Still, you're getting the best out of it. You are making things annoying with the Siphon Life. You do have the Swarm by your hand, and of course the early tower push potential. For Team Next Level, their last response could be, well, a mid lane position, as Zero Tenacity are gonna take away Ember Spirit and the Deuce as well, which, still could be either or. Do you want to place a Shadow Fiend versus an Invoker? Not likely. One cold snap, one fast setup with the Sunstrike, it could be dead end. On the other hand, Kunkka, well, feels a little bit more viable, and they're actually gonna go for that instead. Of course, you do have the beautiful cleave damage for the early farm. You do have the control of X marks the spot and with the turret, so it could be difficult for Invoker a little bit as, the game keeps on progressing somewhere about level 4 or 5. But either way, I don't think it's going to be a hyper of a challenge, as we do also have Stoikov back into the game. So we didn't see him last time when they played out versus. Was it the level up, if I'm not mistaken? Let me just do a quick double check. Actually, yeah, and they unfortunately lost. And as it seems, we're not going to be seeing LeBron. So instead, SC will still stick around and he will take the death profit in his hands. So, two teams which are quite similar. Team Next Level, we have seen them under a previous name last season, and that was Apple City Gang. This is a team that has stuck around altogether for 3 seasons, so team consistency has generally improved. Their pacing has generally improved, and, let's see what they have to bring in. So far, their track record for this season, it has been only 1 game versus Team Impossible, and it has been a 2-0 clean slate result. For Zero Tenacity, same for them. And as we said, they lost to Level Up, who are once again having a completely different setup for the season. Want to see what they've been cooking and what will they'll be cooking as the season goes by. As this is a team that generally has mixed results. They have their own ups and downs, but we're going to sit them in a different state. As for now, which team has the more favorable position? I like Zero Tenacity, mainly because of the Invoker and the Dawnbreaker combination. They do have a beautiful global presence, a lot of magic damage coming in, and of course they can provide a lot of space for the Sven to keep up with the farm, and of course growing to be a super menace, which can definitely counteract the Shadow Fiend, but I do expect that will go in for these early attempts, utilize the Dark Willow, utilize the Tusk to the best of their abilities, and of course, once they get the Stampede going, they're going to be a little bit more annoying. And of course, with the Ghost Ship as well. So, for Zero Tenacity, first 15 minutes will be crucial. Afterwards, they really don't have much to worry about, as Team Next Level will need to fall back to focus a little bit more on their farming, focus a little bit more on their BKBs, and they have a pretty good draft. Well, a pretty greedy draft, actually, that they need to suffice with. So opening up the map, pushing into towers, definitely going to be their hard focus. Double smoke, coming in on both sides. The ever also classic. And ever since the bounties have been pushed a little further back into the jungle, there's been generally a higher tendency to see these big excursions coming in from either side. As if you find somebody, and of course if they're outnumbered, it feels like a pit, and they have a very difficult time. If they're able to break into high ground, they do, have a chance to survive. But if they are being jumped at, chances to survive that, it feels a little bit lower than from previous patches. Nevertheless, we're not going to be seeing any big shenanigans at minute 0. We are just going to see a clean slate 2-2 distribution of the Bountyrians. In terms of the lanes, Dark Willow and Centaur will be facing off versus the Death Prophet and the Sven combination, which feels kind of scary. It is definitely going to deplete a lot of Dark Willow's resources, and she's holding back a point currently, but eventually it is going to go into Shadow Realm as it seems, so they want to throw in fire with fire versus what Zero Tenacity have to bring in. Bottom lane, Nefert and Flacco. Well, it is the Dawnbreaker. Actually, alongside Whip Damage, my bad. With the Marcy. It's a highly dynamic combo, as you can really get in close and personal with the Celestial Hammer, with the Dispose and the Rebound combination. But we're gonna take a sneak peek at what's been happening in mid so far. Dual Race, of course, getting the best out of the Tidebringer. Bottom lane though, it feels like Zero Tenacity, we're gonna go in for some sort of an aggression here, but you do have the safety of the shards so far. that are making your day a little bit better. And Marcy, unfortunately, she is quite the squishy hero, and will need to heavily depend on what the Dawnbreaker has to bring in on her resources and everything. Just keep it safe for now, get a couple of levels going about, maybe, you know, get some upgraded boosts going on to get in close and personal, because mobility definitely is key for this offlane here. Not shying away from team next level, as of course there's always this pesky tusk that can easily counteract and make life a lot more difficult. You will prolong the snowball, as the focus will be on the tag team and on the ice chart, so maybe if they get lucky, maybe if Zero Tenacity overextend, they can use that as a good opportunity. Obviously, Zero Tenacity do have the general idea of it, seeing that Yamich was TPing out. They will commit once again. UI endanger shards, they're gonna buy him some distance, but Nefert closes in. This is gonna be first blood, Dispo taking him back, and it's gonna be down for him in the gutter. Flacco still in danger, will get a couple of hits, but he will not fall just yet. Still a good opening statement for Zero Tenacity. First attempt was not successful, second one was far better as it seems. An accumulated damage of 1,200 damage between the two ladies on the squad. And it's gonna be a little bit difficult for our Shadow Fiend slash friend here to get back into business. Fortunately, he is kicking off with some couple of extra stacks. Hold up, Necromastery. So he's not facing up versus that much of a handicap once he comes back into the lane. Still, Flacco, he's dedicated. Snowball for the kill. And yep, with 21 stacks and a nice positioning coming in, they will get a counter kill. Actually, it was the Tusk dealing most of the heavy lifting. Now with 3 spells available, he does kind of hurt. It's not only that he's annoying, but he does bring in the pain. Top side. Things are not looking that shiny. Even though Nande, he is getting a decent amount of farm here. But it feels like they're a little bit under fire here from Team Next Level. As Dark Willow always has the capability to be really annoying with that. She did opt in for an early Shadow Realm, but did continue off with a level 2 into the Brambles. Kind of feels interesting. Usually you want to prioritize a little bit more of the damage coming in, but I guess not for the time being. I mean, the range is good. The additional 5 damage per tick. I mean, sure, but still, if you're not looking for the pick-off potential, maybe you can play a little bit more defensively. But of course, as we discussed, the Dev Prophet and the Sven combo, they do pack in a lot of early damage. So, one bad move, and the Spirit Siphon will come about with the Crypt Swarm, the Stormhammer, and there's not much you can counteract with that. The Dark Willow, if she manages to pop the Shadow Realm before dying, well, of course, if she has that chance to begin with, she'll be fine, but if she does not, she'll go poof. And it seems like that's gonna be the case, as she moved in midway, but bottom side is where we're gonna see the action. Yamich falls down by the hands of Yoai, and they will take a double, as Nefrit has fallen as well. A siege onto Stoikov came into mid lane, as Fernance, he did get the kill, but paid the price for it. Still 3 kills across the map at mid 6 for Team Next Level. Looks like they are aware of what the situation is here. And with a double kill onto the SF, that's a little bit of a painful start. He already has the power threads completed. He can go in for, I don't know, maybe he can go in for an early Crystallis. Maybe he can go in for the Dragonlance Manta very soon. I mean, it's gonna help you out with avoiding stuff before being forced out to get the BKB, and of course utilize the damage out of it. Meanwhile, Nande is having a slight of a struggle with keeping up with the farm here, but hasn't suffered a single death. So at the very least, he is stable, but definitely an upcoming threat from Team Next Level, which is going to be something that they should address. Meanwhile, Zero Tenacity, they are busy, suffering enough losses down bottom. They will commit for a strike. The jump is onto Yowai. They will stun him. Snowball coming in from Flagel, trying to slow things down, but it's not gonna happen, even with Fernance hitting it from the side. Here comes Dual Race. Nice Tornado for the save, but they gotta lock onto Nefert. Pulled back with X marks the spot, and he has fallen. 1 for the price of 1. They have gotten a strike onto Yowai, which is good. But losing Nefrit, not that good. Maybe they're gonna get an additional one here. Zero Tenacity could get the better offense in this team fight. Snowball boost up, they're gonna close in, Yamage jumping in, they will commit with the Stampede, but both the supports will fall. Yowai, SE, still committing, the crowd is not gonna pop, but he will fall either way. Stoikov, still committed as Yowai looks severely low. But do they want to venture so far deep? Answer is no. Still, they wanted to go in for some little bit of extra. But so did Team Next Level, so either way, that bottom matchup has led to a standstill. Dual Race once again returning to the mid lane. And will commit for some extra tower push, which unfortunately Stoikov hasn't done anything to the mid lane counterpart. Meanwhile, bottom lane is gonna be a trade-off between the offlaners once again. So after that hard strike coming in from Next Level, it seems like every other encounter here has led into a standstill, which it's a good thing for Zero Tenacity because the main focus is onto disrupting Yowai, so this carry is having a little bit of a difficult time after getting that Falcon's Blade to keep up with the pressure, as opposed to the Sven, who is pretty much AFK farming all along. Meanwhile, mid lane, doesn't seem like there's good things happening for Zero Tenacity, as a gank onto Stoikov will result in a free kill. A good old dust to keep them from straying away in this. And of course, with that being done, they are gonna commit for the tower. Easy peasy, absolutely zero contest, and they'll keep at it. Smoke up. The supports are focused topside, where we currently know that it's only Nande sticking around. But Zero Tenacity, well, it's a standard routine support backup, but they might lose the Death Prophet over this if they're not gonna call in for backup. Actually, they will. Stoikov is here. Nande, they spot Norma. Yes, they did. EMPs. Stampede has been popped up, but they get a lock onto him. The Brambles, nice fear there. Gonna take 2 back. The focus is slightly off of Norma, but they will connect with the Stormhammer. Nice stomp, but he will fall. In the backlines, Yowai has popped the Requiem, but to yield no results, Exorcism popped it, going in forward for the Dark Willow. She is trying to bide some time with the Rel, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna be enough. SC with the Exorcism dealt in a lot of damage, but the last hit was delivered by Stoikov, so at the very least it's a little bit of a something going in Zero Tenacity's direction, as they won't lose anybody just to take down Norma and France, but there's a hefty investment there. Still first use of Exorcism for 2 kills. It's some good stuff. So yeah, bad situation potentially for Zero Tenacity. Got in their benefit. Does loosen off the pressure of the bottom lane a little bit, as Nefert doesn't really need to bother with the Dawnbreaker to stick around and see what happens. She can just pop in and, you know, be invasive from any single part of the map. But it's gotta stick around and be really careful, because every second spent in silence means that there could be a potential gang coming up. And of course, second I see it, Team Next Level are gonna commit for something. Well, they're focused up mid lane, going into the bottom triangle, deep into the dire jungle, where it did speak of a Dawnbreaker lurking by. Will they close in together? Answer is yes, I think they did make contact. X marks the spot, into the ghost ship. And she never knew what hit her. Easy peasy. With that, no initiation available, but they don't have the ghost ship available at this point. Flacco under siege. He will commit for the snowball, but he's right in the middle of everything. For it, takes damage back. But they're still committed. The smart seal with the amplified damage. We'll show them what's cooking. Flacco. Oh, nice deny there. It's gonna be a wasted effort after all. And topside, Nande is in trouble. Oh boy. They will commit the Stampede for a good cause. And we'll take down... I mean, it's attempt number 3 at least on Sven's life. And finally, it is going to be successful, as Zero Tenacity's focus was down bottom. And by, well, 13 minutes into this game, Next Level are clearing up the last tier 1 tower, which does leave Zero Tenacity quite vulnerable, as they have taken zilch so far, and they are the ones who have the Death Prophet available in their repertoire. So far, it has been only for aggressive purposes. The rest of the crew will find Flacco, Snowball, just walking in a short distance. Flacco will be annoying enough to waste Zero Tenacity's time, but he will fall either way. Meanwhile, the Death Prophet will finally be focused on to taking a tower. It's gonna take a little bit of time, but it's gonna be finally a little bit of something for Zero Tenacity. So carry-wise, UI, he has taken 5 kills, 2 losses so far. Item-wise, Mask of Madness and Falcon Blade going in for Hurricane Mike. Meanwhile, mid lane, seems like Fernez is in trouble. Pulled back by Yamich. And poof, he goes. But yeah, on course for the Hurricane Pike is our dear friend Shadowfiend, who already has the Mask of Madness to make his life easier for the farming. But can he outfarm Sven, who currently has a completed Echo Saber and a completed Mask of Madness? Kinda looking tough. But at the same time, the next item for the Sven is gonna be a little bit... You know, it's gonna take some time, because it's a big item, it's very heavy on the cost, it's gonna keep you at AFK for a while. Next milestone will be the BKB, which is a little bit more manageable. But then again, Next Level will need to force out a fight once again. Because now it is going to be the open window where Zero Tenacity, they have the first items they need to be hyper annoying, and they're going to throw everything they have into the Sven. So any idle period spent by Next Level could throw in some losses into this game. And Nande, when we spoke about the Bling Dagger, it's going to take some time. It was a huge understatement. Seems like rotations between lanes, and of course the camps, has worked out really nicely for Nande. We did get a little bit of a hard strike topside, but you know, just pointed him the hour at the clock. Okay, it's time for you to leave the lane. It's absolutely fine. Just go farm, go elsewhere. Lanes are no longer safe. And of course, it's the best decision you can always make, because you've been sieged once, you've been taken down for the second time, third time you're not gonna sit around waiting ducks and, you know, just get destroyed. Meanwhile, Next Level, in their absence, they've been productive, as Blade Mails and Vanguards are being brought up onto the center, and those are pretty hefty items, throwing back a lot of damage, but meanwhile, UI, he's in danger. It's just gonna be 2 to take him down, but Nefrit, uh-oh, he will be caught up here as Norma Flacco. They arrived a little bit too late to the party, but they will get a return kill. Yamish hasn't been caught up, but he will find Flacco instead. Dancing around the brambles, Nande's jumping in and just deleting Flacco on the spot. Well, At least they can call it even. Even though Nefert has been the collateral once again. The takedown onto UI was a little bit more beneficial. And of course, they are able to finally bring in Nande to the game, so... in a 5v5 scenario, it seems like Zero Tenacity could have the better outcome of things. But they gotta keep up with the invasion. They have lost a severe portion of the map that they really need to compensate. But they gotta be careful about that.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
We have far seen the early contests of the Tormentor at minute 15. I don't think this would have been a good setup for next level to go in and jump at it, but it is 5 minutes late, or maybe it's on point for people who are joining back in since, you know, the paths got changed up. But point being, it's no longer the point of contest for teams. Still, they are willing to siege sides either way. Stoikov is endangered, feared up, brought back, held upon, stunned down, and absolutely destroyed. He won't stand a chance. Even if he did manage to pop the Ghost Walk, you're facing off versus an Invoker. You know that that guy always has that ace under his sleeve, so he'll be ready. Rest of Zero Tenacity. They are on completely the other side of the map, just currently minding their own business. As we said, it's gonna be important for Nefert to compensate the multiple takedowns he has gotten. Focus is on to the Aghanim Scepter, of course. But in the meanwhile, next level will use their absence, that is Zero Tenacities, to go in for Roche number 1. So at least you are removed one objective from the game, but you still have good old Roche to pay a visit. Before Zero Tenacity can do anything about it. They don't have any vision, even if they did. They could have walked him into the trap. I mean, there's a lot of heroes that... I mean, they're gonna be trapped into the pit and they're gonna be easily jumped upon. But with the Shadow Fiend, I do believe it's ever so slightly different. Even if he falls with the Requiem, it is gonna cause in a lot of damage. It is gonna, you know, be a pretty big problem in this scenario specifically. And with the Centaur currently being super tanky, a lot of Zero Tenacity's damage will be thrown back at him. So they really need to compensate in the healing department. Yeah, they do have the good old 8 off the Dawnbreaker, but she's got a lot more heavy lifting to do. And we're not seeing, I mean, we only have the Solar Crest available onto the Death Prophet, which unfortunately it is single target. We are gonna need to see some pipes, we are gonna need maybe to see some Guardian Griefs later on in the game, as healing will be crucial for this team. For next level, they could eventually fall apart with this draft, but they currently have the right momentum. 2k is not that much of a difference, but they are still getting these plays, they are still getting these wins across the map. Even though Zero Tenacity, they are jumping in for the kill. Nande will instantly delete Flaco. First use of BKB will bring in a nice and juicy kill in the backline. ZOI, he's in danger. Will pop the Requiem. Tornado will not catch it, but he is still in danger. He is out and vulnerable, even though dealing significant amounts of damage. He will survive. Nande was on the sidelines, focused on the center, but he will get a lock onto Flaco and dual race. He will be caught up. Cages will fall, but Stoikov will fall right after. Still, Nande is present and he's hitting, but so is Yoi back at full health as he will fall. Oh, Marcy in danger. It was that extra life onto Yoi, which made things really good for here. And also, the focus coming in from Nande. Why would you go in onto the Centaur, the one target which is most difficult for you to kill during the BKB timing? That feels like a little bit of a greedy oversight from our super strong carry here. I mean, just by himself he did almost 6k damage. But the focus was a little bit off. You could have went in for those easy pickoffs. Yoi, he fell once, you could have taken him down twice. But maybe get him next time, Tiger, Norma. Okay, I thought it was an honest mistake, but he wants to give it to Fernance. I mean, on behalf of all of supports, please let us do the shrines. Unless things are really bad, then yeah, we're gonna give you that extra experience. Flacco, however, he's glad he already took the other half, as he has fallen down bottom.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Still looking strong, and with not much of a contest. Nandi, he is sticking around bottom side, but it's gotta be wary and it's gotta be cautious, as one step too far, and this is gonna cause Zero Tenacity's entire bout. Nefret, as I said, he's still not fit for this. He is there for the engagement. That's okay. This time the big catch is gonna yield in a kill. So without Norma, now things are gonna be a little bit more manageable. But yeah, both teams have the suffering end. Without the Sven, it's gonna be dangerous because that's where you get your damage from. That's where you can get all your frontlining from, as he is still compensating for Nefret. Norma, on the other hand, is the entire team stability. Maybe Konka is gonna get there. The SF is definitely not gonna get there. And you gotta protect him, so. 23 minutes in. Score-wise, we are 16/15 in the favor of Next Level, with 2K in their favor. So far, their cores are looking ever so better, given that Nefret's ever so lasting fate is getting taken down once again and once again, but this time Nande will say no, jumping in, taking down Fernance. UI will pop the first use of DPP. They will dance around this, the rest of their ability. Requiem, not gonna do a lot of damage. Will they keep up the chase? UI turns around, keeps on with the hitting. He will pop alongside with Nefret. They will finally get the big bounty. At what cost? They're going in for more. They will make a catch onto their profit. Or it up, stun down, taken snowball, everything. Bam, down she goes. Next Level will even out the score of this team fight. As Zero Tenacity, they have poured in a little bit too many resources in keeping up because of UI.
Got it.
And of course, Nefret once again being on the suffering end. Even though he did get a hold on to the Aghanim Scepter, he is still really reliant on that BKB. Meanwhile, Stoikov going in for a little bit of a risky single attempt here onto Norma, and will pay with his life for it. Stampede popped up. They will push Nande back here. Attempts were being made. Norma turns around. BKB committed. Guardian will miss out. Oh, Zero Tenacity. They have thrown in a lot here. As Next Level, they will try to close in. Next marks the spot. Get a lock on to Nefret. He will pop the bleed nail. Flacco will get a lot of that damage back, but Zero Tenacity, they're not fighting into this. Fernance closes in, and they will get a second. Well, not seconds. There's been 7 takedowns onto Nefret so far in this game. And Zero Tenacity just gave it to them. God. They threw in everything, got nothing in return. Counted on their bets, and got the hell out of there. Still, a win after a win for Next Level is they're still holding on to this draft really, really nicely. I mean, maybe I've been looking at the heroes a little bit too much as, you know, by themselves individually, not as much as a core team as, you know, one is supposed to do in Dota, as it is a team game after all. But they're making their pickups work really nicely. They are utilizing the X marks the spot for the biggest target they can find, isolate them completely. And there's not much you can do about it. There's also the Tusk, who's always gonna get involved in personal, and Dark will also look at this. Yamich is doing his best to stay alive, but he's getting thrown everything in his face. Stoikov doing his best to keep up, but guess what? You're gonna get the snowball. Thankfully, Flacco, he will get locked onto high ground, but the shards won't let him go anywhere far. But yeah, the amount of control from this team as a whole is absolutely on point. And they don't have to even throw in that much. Yeah, you can throw in the Ghost Ship for something even bigger, for something stronger, but you have all of these small spells that you can work with 24/7. Rinse and repeat. Give them out, and they're absolutely doing it. So yeah, it seems like Zero Tenacity are the ones who are lacking answers in this game one of how many days it has been. I mean, as I said earlier, we haven't had that many matches, but we've had. This is day 10 so far of the European Pro League season 27, but we're gonna have a lot more where that came from. Meanwhile, Dual Race seems like he was in danger, but apparently not. As the turret will buy him the distance he needs and get the hell out of there. Just expending the extra stampede to get in close and personal. But yeah, even though the score hasn't changed much, I mean, actually it has. There's been one pretty big team fight, my bad. It's been 6k. Well, about 5. Now it changed. Net worth being changed, so it seems like there's a lot of things happening for next level, but Zero Tenacity are still keeping things up, at least farm-wise, so they're not showing much. They're not playing super aggressively, which means they are being a little bit reserved on when they're gonna fully strike. As I still believe that they have the superior draft here, especially once you get a couple of BKBs going on, especially to keep the poor old Dawnbreaker alive and well. And of course a nice catch, or two. It could make things a lot more manageable, but that window of chance is kinda closing in, as next level are actively keeping things up really nicely. I mean, they've played on point as a team, they've actively been, you know, throwing themselves out there, and every single catch has, you know, every single throw has resulted in a catch, so you have that happening for you. They will go for it once again, and who might they find here? Is it gonna be Nefrit? Seems like so, and everybody wants to get a piece of that cake. There, she's gonna get locked down, but this time she will have the chance to throw the Solar Guardian elsewhere across the map. So at the very least, the Solar Lady will live to see another day. While in the meantime, Yamich has been busy pushing in topside. Double win for Zero Tenacity within this minute. They have lost some time from next level in their siege, and they have claimed the tower. But no time to be lost, as next level instantly refocused onto going in for Roche number 2. Zero Tenacity, they know that they cannot jump at them at random. Maybe some detection will be thrown in, but that's just detection. No Solar Guardian available, we can take this one for free, fellas. And Zero Tenacity, they're not feeling super bothered by it, as they are still sticking around on the Radiant side of the map. But they should be wary, they should be cautious, as Yawai, he has 2 lives and a BKB available. But they are still focused on to opening up the map. Walking right on the vision, Yawai, he will be caught up, stunned down, and instantly deleted. Okay, that's something. Life number 1, rambled up. Nande, he will be forced to pop the BKB. Yawai will do so as well. Nope, both carries don't have their BKBs available anymore. Yamish, hold back. Nice tornado will catch up onto the counter, but snowballs, shards, everything will be thrown onto this poor old Marcy as she moves down into the gutter. Next catch, Death Prophet, hello lady. Crown with the Yule, stand up. Still has the exorcism up, but she's up in the air as well, brambled up. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Another easy pick off for next level to go by. Yes, we did lose the Aegis, ladies and gentlemen, but we took 2 of them in return. But yeah, there it is once again. Even though it felt like that BKB might have been super important onto UI, but it has pretty much baited Zero Tenacity into being picked off one by one right after. So they still have the power in those annoying Conka and Tusk plays. And of course, not to mention the Dark Willow. And another weird Solar Guardian use. Hopefully it was not in vain, but 1 minute without the Dawnbreaker being available. She will, however, get the shards. At the very least, she will get some extra immunity going by, alongside with the BKB, so Dawnbreaker, that's a lot more to go with. during the next one, but another crucial hero that Zero Tenacity will need to protect is this Marcy, so are we gonna get a BKB onto the good old lady as well? Could be, actually. Yep, she does have the recipe coming in, so quadruple BKB for Zero Tenacity up and running. Now they need about 25 seconds to get their big ultimates off of cooldown. But how will they approach onto the next level? If they go in for a single target pickup as they did previously, they have committed a little bit too much, so they gotta be looking at least 2+, 3+, where they do have the upper hand to control the team fight. For next level, it's gonna be easy for them. Even if they lose one, they can work with the rest. But that was history. Let's see if it's gonna repeat itself or not. Zero Tenacity going in for the high siege. Potentially, or they're trying to bait out dual race, sticking around with the smoke ever so precautionately. As Doris, he's literally standing at the middle of the stairs. Nande, he's waited enough, decides to commit, jumps in, takes down the Kunkka, as they will commit the Solar Guardian for the kill. He's coming in, supports, Heartlight with Yawai. They're gonna get a lock on to Nepherd once more, but he has not been committed yet. Oh, nice save there coming in from Yamichi. Dawnbreaker will survive, Nande returns. Flacco in danger, one more strike, the Tusk will go down. But Yawai, uh-oh, hello, we have the card in play as well. So we're just gonna see a little bit of a spectacle on the side. As Zero Tenacity, they will pull in an aggressive move. This time, it is gonna be a little bit more successful, but I do fear they have expended a little bit more. If the team fight prolonged itself a little bit more, next level could have won that. Damage-wise, what was the distribution? Yeah, of course it was Nande. As long as the Sven is alive, you do have a huge danger to, to work with, to worry about. So yeah, after all of those takedowns, the difference has been ever so slightly been dropped. So we are at 4k difference, with 2 towers being claimed by Zero Tenacity. We did see Yamich earlier taking one, but the bottom and the mid lane, they just happened 34 minutes in. As for next level, they have one more tier 2 tower remaining, so one more team fight being won, they can push in a little bit more aggressively. But I guess both sides are gonna wait out for Roshan number 3. It's definitely not an opportunity for Zero Tenacity to lose. They have let loose of Roshan number 2 and 1 and 2, of course. They haven't even paid attention to it at all. I guess they still believe in this draft, as they're causing these slight hiccups ever so slightly in their favor. But they're losing every other team fight. You gotta count their cards right, UI. Chance approaches, nice card, but it's gonna be into the Solar Guardian as Norma will fall. UI barely alive, will fall right after. Flacco jumping in. Oh, poor calculations were brought in by next level S. In the attempt to save the life of Yawai, they throw in the card, leaving Norma to die right before anything else could have happened. And with the primary setup failing for the next level, the Tusk as a follow-up just pretty much failed like a domino effect. Zero Tenacity getting 3 kills just like that. And Yawai did manage to pop the BKB probably right there at the end. But it was not enough to set off the Requiem, it was not enough to do anything during that team fight. Yes, Jack was just able to throw in the items rather than be able to do anything else about it. But yeah, another tower is going to be claimed by Zero Tenacity along with the shrine by Nande. Yeah, I hate to believe that even after so many changes added to this game, the second Sven is once again viable into the patch. He is still the same disgusting hero to watch, making every hero in the game look like, a box of butter, and he's just, slicing through them like they're butter. There goes the metaphor, but Never mind. I still hate this hero, and I still hate the fact that he's still viable and he's still strong. But is he gonna be enough to win this game for Zero Tenacity? It's still game number 1, but it's really, really highly dynamic and really, really fun to watch.
Radiant are scanning.
Even though, for the people who are popping in right now, this is the second game for both of these teams. Next Level and Zero Tenacity. I mean, for Next Level the name is different, so it was Apple City Gang. But both teams have spent a pretty long time at the European Pro League, pretty much fortifying their veterancy status within this tournament. So definitely they have a lot to bring in. Could be one of the stronger contenders in their respective group. So they're part of Group B. Currently at the top, it is Level Up, followed up by Yellow Submarine, Team Next Level, E-Spoiled, Zero Tenacity, and Aim Possible. And there's still a lot more to watch from this group. It's been predominantly Group A that we have been seeing so far onto the streams. Whereas Runa team have fortified their position at the top, while Team Grivnia, they have suffered a heavy bunch of losses, pretty much in 4 consecutive days. Well, the tournament haven't even kicked off, and unfortunately, they're out of it. But there's a lot more to go for these guys, as another jump has been committed once again. They will try to save Yoi, but Nande will take down Norma Blanco. Yoi's still alive, but barely. Nande looking low, he will pop actually, dual race, jumping in very last second. He will show Nande and his godlike streak who's boss here. As guess what? He is gonna jump in with not only a new BKB, but also a good old Satanic to turn the tables of war. I mean, what can you throw back at Sven, who deals in a lot of damage? A lot more damage back into the healing, so... Satanic being used up, he jumps back, turns things around. And also Yoi has been kept alive for an insanely long time. And also the fact... Well, he does not have a blade mail. I thought he did for a second. It was Dulrays afterwards who had the blade mail, but the fact that he was able to stand strong at 4k HP, pretty much as a beacon against the Sven, means that he is finally beginning to add up to the tankiness of Next Level, henceforth Norma. He can do other shenanigans across the game. He can throw in the workhorse, he can, you know, keep people alive, just pop the Crimson Guard and get the hell out of there. And of course, he's gonna get a Shiva's Guard, so he's gonna have more things to do as the game keeps on going. But Dual Race, looking like an absolute menace within this game. He will go in for a Daedalus. Maybe we could be seeing a Divine Rapier being used in here. We have completely forgotten about the Skunka. Dual Race has been the silent warrior here. We have mostly talked about the X marks the spots, but I mean, that's what he's been doing, but we have completely thrown away the Kunkka potential during the big team fights. And he still hurts up to this very day. Radiance and everything equipped. Of course, now that you have the extra crit coming in from the Daedalus, it's gonna be... well, we just saw. It's gonna be disgusting. So, Zero Tenacity, amp up your survivability, because things are looking bad once again. Nefrit, he has obtained an Assault Cuirass to keep up with the team, but this is still an aggressive Dawnbreaker. There's not much being provided by the rest of the crew. We do have a Spirit Vessel onto the Invoker, but there's not much else. It's still the same aggressive approach that Zero Tenacity are going for. If they're not able to get in that primary impact or take down the target at the first given moment, it's out. And they could be getting a dual race, but the backlines actually they will kill it first. Nante, will they find the tusk answers? Yes, workforce, PKBs, everything is being popped up, but it's Zero Tenacity who are dropping low. Nande, Yamich, Nefrit, all of them will fall. Oh, they walked into a death trap. Zero Tenacity. They wanted to go in for this Roshan control so early on that they completely forgot. Oh god. They got Yoi out of this. But they refocused onto the Tusk command that there's so many other heroes out there venturing forth. Pick up last and before the team. They will be locked, caught, and destroy this Conker. I mean, it's an absolute menace. I thought they were gonna go in for him, as he was a little bit refocused, but they wanted to get the Tusk. UI is manageable at the very least, but it's the Conker definitely that you need to worry about. Him staying alive nice and well. And of course he does have the Ferric Cloak available. So he's pretty much, you know, having a double blade mail action going about, but he did sell the blade mail earlier on, so at the very least this guy is super tough right now. A lot of resistances, a lot of durability, and Roche number 3 is gonna go into the direction of the next level once more. So how can you counteract this guy? I would have said with a lot more control, but well, what does that mean? But you cannot compensate with spells, you gotta compensate in items. And with what? You need a Scythe of Vice, you need a lot more Yules, you need, I don't know, 4 staffs, whatever you can get. But there's a lot of items just to control one hero. That unfortunately Zero Tenacity completely looked over. And yeah, once he gets the Boots of Travel, he is gonna be turning into a Nature's Prophet on steroids, just jumping in back and forth, cleaving down a couple of waves. And currently he's insanely tanky to deal with. By the time even if Zero Tenacity they latch onto him, it's gonna be difficult to keep up with the rest of the fight, and they have already committed, well, we have already seen how much they need to commit to take down 1 or 2 kills. Let alone committing on to taking a 4.1k Conker. He can throw a lot of things back at you. He's gonna pop in the Satanic. It's gonna be a lot of things that you need to worry about. Damage. We'll get a taste of very heavy medicine game. Next level Nande will recommit here, jumps in onto Norma, who is trying his best to save Yoai's life, and he will do successfully. Returning onto Nande, they will pop off the Sven. Second the BKB goes off. Nefrid, this time he's not gonna be the victim. And forces out the bestest combo in the game. BKB TP out. Meanwhile, Stoikov forcing out a BKB just to get the hell out of that X marks the spot, but he is being chased upon. Nice Invis Rune catch there. Bramble, oh, it will latch onto him. Dual race right behind his back. They're throwing everything at this Evoker there, but they're just gonna need a dust. And another X marks the spot. A Zero Tenacity. I mean, as I said, I completely overlooked next level as a team, what they can potentially do, and 44 minutes into this one, they're still actively doing it. Zero Tenacity. They went in for a little bit more of a too classic approach in this game, as it felt like a really Dawnbreaker heavy dependent draft that you can work with, because you want to land in a nice Solar Guardian, you need to have a nice lock-in of control. But the rest of the crew, it's all about the damage. Maybe, just maybe, if they had a Faceless Void, they could have, you know, had an extra layer of control to counteract what the next level have. But you are still dependent on that one big play and nothing else to fill in for the gaps, and that's what next level have been doing with this draft. Just Bramble, stun, everybody except for the SF. I mean, yeah, he does have the Hurricane Pike and the E-Blade. Well, actually, not E-Blade, Butterfly, my bad. Just the Hurricane Pike to buy some distance, so at the very least, there's something. And now with the Satanic in his hands as well. Oh boy. They like damage. Show us what you got. That's what's happening here. And I'm afraid it seems like it's been a point of no return for Zero Tenacity within this game. As they still have about 2 more minutes remaining onto the Aegis timer. 1 more tower, preventing them from going in from all sides onto Zero Tenacity's high ground. Well, Zero Tenacity, they cannot fight into them. Maybe they can throw in some sort of a rat play, but they don't have heroes that can facilitate that. They don't have a Nature's Prophet. Maybe they can use in the Dawnbreaker, but she's a little bit too important within this scenario. But unfortunately, her importance has been
is under attack.
pretty much brought to naught. And the fact that she has doubled down on an aggressive build, now with the refresher equipped, means that Zero Tenacity they still have this tendency to fight. But if they don't win team
Dire's
fights,
bottom tower is
what
under
else can
attack.
they do? They cannot win a 1v5 and then expect for a good follow-up. They gotta go in 5v5 and hope for that ideal scenario. They may or may not have found it. Norma locked in the back. Nande, they're committing back and forth from the sides. Solar Guardian, it will connect taunt-wise. Norma taken down. Infantry buys back to Wise. They're gonna lock onto Nande. Everybody's around him. Solar Guardian pops in. Therefore, finally, you're gonna find a nice one, but Nande looking really low to spend will pop. No buyback available for him. Del Rey's jumping in. Norma with the card. They're chasing onto Essie. They got Yamcha and the shards. And oh! That jump will lead in for the kill. Gems have been dropped, GGs have been called up, and it's gonna be team at next level who are gonna take this game number 1. Pretty much on point. I mean, once again, it was a complete overlook on my side in terms of what this draft could have done. As I a little bit, looked at the heroes individually, but as a whole, they had a lot of control versus which Zero Tenacity had absolutely none. They did have a good team fight potential, but they had absolutely zero lockdowns. They could have committed only for 1 or 2 heroes at a time, but for nobody else as a follow-up. So it was definitely a drafting issue for Zero Tenacity that they really need to work around with a little bit better. The focus was a little bit too much on the Dawnbreaker, and they will need to find a way to break it into the next game. So without any further ado, we are going to take a short break, and we will be back to see what Game 2 has to bring. And we're back once more, ladies and gentlemen, with game two between Team Next Level and with Zero Tenacity. Game one, it was, I mean, I feel a little bit embarrassed that I didn't really foresee it that well from the start, but it was pretty much a one-sided matchup coming in the favor for Team Next Level due to the fact that they had a lot more to hold on to during the team fights, and they were able to scatter around. Their lockdown potential was great. Their pickoff potential by that, it was absolutely amazing. So for Zero Tenacity, their draft was a little bit all over the place. They didn't have that well of a control, and the situations that they got themselves into had little to barely any follow up. In this scenario, they are gonna pick up the Shadow Demon as a first counter reaction versus the Naga Siren, side by side with the Centaur, Warlock, and with the Sven. So, as of recent history, Naga has been popping back up a little bit more likely as a support hero, but a little less likely as a carry. I don't think it's been actually played that much as a carry, but even so, there's a lot of counter illusion play being thrown at her. The other heroes so far being picked up from next level, they're not that heavy on the illusions. They're heavy onto the control. They're heavy onto the movement. So far, they're lacking in onto the damage. So it's gonna be either way difficult to come in with some sort of an illusion wielding hero. So even though Shadow Fiend has been taken out, I thought it was gonna be their next valid choice, as these first three picks are something that they have played before versus Impossible. If I'm not, yeah, I mean, it was the only match that they've had so far. But they have combined it with a Shadow Demon, with a Shadow Fiend, my bad, alongside with an Invoker. But you are getting that control as mostly of a combination between the Naga with the Pango and with Dark Willow. But this time it's gonna be the Troll Warlord that they're gonna be supporting. Um, doesn't feel like the worst choice in the world, but feels ever so slightly iffy. I mean, you do have the fast pickup potential, you do have the fast rotations that you can build up, so you can combine UI with the supports for these ganks across the map, but you're a little bit dependent or forced into these. I don't know, the team fights feel a little bit weak. Of course, Norma can do a lot of damage early as the Pango, and you can bring in a little bit of control with Dual Race. But when it comes down to the collective team scalability, I don't know, it feels kind of awkward. Not giving a lot of credit to the troll, as I don't know. Feels like Zero Tenacity has a lot more control this time around. With the Sven, with the Ember, with the Warlock and the Centaur as well. I mean, they have the problem of the big ultimate with the Golem, and Warlock has unfortunately sunken down a little bit. But I do believe that you can get the best out of the Fatal Bonds, given the fact that Nande and Stoikov are insane damage dealers. A lot of points and issues have been amended since last game, so you do have the disruption that you can use, you do have the Echo Stomp, and you do have the Searing Chains alongside with the Stormhammer that you can actively utilize to fill in the gaps between the big team fights. For Team Next Level, the one strong point that they have is they can call in the quick reset button. So Flacco coming in with the Song of the Siren, they can make the right choice to, fend away from any team fights that they're not really favorable for, or of course against, until they find the right moment for Yawai to strike back. For Yawai, things can be ever so problematic. I mean, he's very decent when it comes down to farming and breaking out of balls.
Prepare for battle.
Could be a little bit problematic. I mean, from what we've seen so far during the previous game, and of course during the previous seasons from these guys, is they have a good way to hold down during the laning stage. They can bring in a lot of early control, they can bring in a lot of annoyances to deal with. And of course, this is once again a highly impactful draft that after 10 minutes it can kick off and be absolutely annoying. Counteract this Sven, and you can have a lot more of a manageable game as the game keeps on going. Never definitely looking like he's gonna be having a big target on his back. We saw how disabled Zero Tenacity were without the Dawnbreaker. In this scenario, it could be similar, as in the previous game with Next Level, they did have the Conka to come across as soon as Norma lost his effectiveness. The Conka was an insane addition to the team. But for Zero Tenacity in this scenario, what can you compensate with? Everything that you have, once again, is pretty squishy. So you gotta make the first 15 minutes of the game count. I do believe that next level have a little bit more packing at the start of the game, but we shall see. Both sides, they will crossfire here at the river, but nobody will fall, as it's gonna be a double bounty rune for each side. Nothing much to see here. But yeah, bottom lane, it could be a little bit problematic between the Warlock and between the Sun, as they do have this active pushing power. They can actively push into the lane. But when it comes down to a single target pickoff, they gotta choose one or the other. So if they want to contest the farm, if they want to contest the lane, utilize the Fatal Bonds with the Cleave, they could destabilize the lane a little bit too soon, and it seems like they're going to be going in for that. At least they're going to deliver a little bit of an early harassment onto Norma. Still, they gotta be super careful, because with the Warlock being present, it's just going to double down the stakes onto deny Valley, onto killing down the creeps. Not really sure which side is going to take the kill down bottom, as the Pango is definitely not a force to be reckoned with. Between these two, they're only relying onto the Stormhammer to do something, and afterwards, the Pango can easily break free, jump back, you know, throw in the Swashbuckle and all of his shenanigans, and, you know, just destroy something in the process. Alongside with the Dark Will, you do have the Brambles to hold things on, and of course with the Shadow Realm, you do have the extra damage, so each side's gotta be careful. Zero Tenacity especially, as they already lost game 1 due to a bunch of, well, badly played off mistakes. So they could fall for it once again. Top side, it is Flacco and Yawai once more. This time as the Troll War Runner and the Naga Siren. I do like the control that can potentially come in from the Shadow Demon, but I'm afraid he's a little bit too susceptible to being under attack here. He's not that high on the movement. He is, at the start of the game, a one-trick pony until he gets level 2 and, you know, starts popping into Shadow Poisons. But it's always a double-edged sword. You get a wand, you get a stick, and you can easily just get back. Norma. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If they lose out their primary impact, Norma can throw himself back really nice and easily. And yeah, to the person in chat asking whose draft is better, you are gonna get it 5 minutes later than expected, with a little bit of a spoiler. I do like Team Next Level's draft because of the balance of, you know, AoE control that you can have with the Naga hitting the reset button, so you can buy yourself a lot of control throughout the game. It's gonna be a little bit of time until UI gets online, but I do believe that the rest of the team can hold on to it. There's a couple of weak points from Zero Tenacity that they can abuse. That is coming in mostly from the Warlock, but he's a super easy target, really easily counterable. We have seen an entire patch of Warlocks, so he's definitely a manageable issue. Centaur as well could be for a fact a problem as well, especially while his blade mail is super effective. But eventually he will flounder. Problem is scalability. We saw that Next Level, they know how to keep up the pace, know how to pretty much juggle the football into the air and, you know, keep up with the game and call in the right shots. So this is definitely a draft which co-aligns with their forte. But we'll see, there's still a lot of ifs. We haven't seen everything from Zero Tenacity, I believe. They kind of have lost their high risk, high gain sort of a play, especially since LeBron is not available. Right, not sure why. I mean, there's also regional qualifications currently in Europe, so that might account for something. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, he added to that risk factor where Zero Tenacity were able to play around. SC is a little bit more passive compared to that, so maybe they're not able to pick up their momentum onto the draft because they have a tendency of keeping a small presence across the first 20 minutes of the game, and afterwards, account for two big team fights and turn the game around completely. But given that, keeping that into consideration, they lost if they are unable to keep up with the early game. Maybe this game could be different, maybe not. But they gotta find a proactive way to keep up with these heroes. If they go in for the passive approach to give Sven enough room to farm up, they're gonna be losing a lot of momentum. They gotta bring the Sven in as soon as they're able to fight, as soon as they have the Stampede per se, as soon as they have... I don't know, you don't need much. You could use the Remnants if you want to involve the Ember Spirit, but so far he's doing... I mean, it's alright. He is farming about very close to the puck. But also, a puck is a huge problem that you're gonna have to deal with. The hero has ever so slightly fallen into being as effective by himself, but Coil is still a huge asset to the team fight. But without it, it could be difficult. And speaking of, Dual Race in a little bit of danger, but without the additional hold down, he's gonna orb away back to safety. Topside is gonna be the illusion, which Yamich is gonna claim, so an illusion play between his illusion and the ones from the Naga Siren. But he always has the poison to easily farm off whatever he can find across the way. I really like the Doom-like skin that we are seeing in game here. But yeah, Shadow Demon is still generally discussing the hero. Still feels a little bit too situational. I mean, it was the first response versus the Naga Siren in trying to keeping her into control. But I do believe it's a pretty solid response for keeping the Pango or the puck in check. Even though given that notion, I kind of miss a hero that can withhold heroes for a longer time, like Bane. There was these Legion plays as a support at one point just for that lockdown to keep somebody out of the team fight as long as possible, but with, the duel is gonna be a double-edged sword if you lose. Still, I miss out on Bane being played out. Because you do have the control coming in with a Nightmare, you have the Fiend's Grip. Of course, it's a channel, it could be an issue, but it does help you out with those early pickoffs. And speaking of, finally, 7 minutes in, we will see the first takedown. Nice call build being dropped in by Dual Race. He will take Stoikov back here, and they will be forced to pop the Stampede, get the hell out of there. As the crown is ticking, Dual Race, he's still focused up, throws the orb deep behind the towers, but he's not gonna find anything. Even if First Blood has been claimed by Zero Tenacity, a bigger bounty is going to be claimed by the team next level. It was a beautiful setup there from Dual Race. And of course, as we saw, they got a pretty nice bounty out of it. And I guess we can finally start with watching this game. There has been absolutely zero action on both sides for the first 7 minutes. And now second, we have seen the First Bloods. It's already Nefrid who's having issues here. Flacco is actively keeping up to chase this Naga. I mean, not sure what he's super afraid of. Possibly the chance for somebody popping up. Or he's just being plain out annoying cutting the lanes. It's just kind of scary what's gonna happen. Meanwhile, bottom side, they will be forced to pop the Golem to keep Nande alive. Enough time for Stoikov to close in. Nice double chains, catching on to Norma and Fernandes, but not for a long time. Either way, Nefrid will fall as his adventure topside will yield in a kill. However, an offlaner might die on the other side. Norma is still keeping alive and well, but not for long. Another cleave hit, and he's gonna be done. Well, Nefrid died out of just pretending to be an axe out of Timu, while next level were focused down bottom. A little bit too much in the takedown of Nande, and they will lose Norma in the process. Chaotic Offering has been committed, so at the very least, Zero Tenacity can potentially convert it into a tower takedown, or, at least weaken the tower a little bit more. As we still haven't seen any tower takedowns Both sides, once again, super dependent on opening up the map. Sven needs space, the troll needs space. Maybe if next level are gonna utilize the Naga, they will want to give for something. Pongo is also really fast when it comes down to farming, so
Is under attack.
it's really funny that every single time that I'm expecting to see more teamfight oriented, drafts, I'm literally seeing quite the opposite. Maybe game ones are usually a little bit too pumped up, and afterwards game two is a little bit more calculated. Okay, we're gonna take a slower approach and then we're gonna fight. In contrast to one team being able to fight very early on and the other one just waiting out to see what's gonna happen. Yeah, 10.5 minutes in. UI is chilling, going in for the Battle Fury. Nane has been sieged once, but he does have the Mask of Madness available already, so he can do a quick and easy job into the woods. Stoikov has been holding on really well so far, and he's a little bit more present and proactive onto December in contrast to the Invoker. I mean, even the previous game, it was not 100% an Invoker game, as you really do need another hero to hold things on together so you can throw in the rest of the spells. For Ember, he's right in your face at all times. He's gonna throw in the chains, he's gonna throw in a lot of damage, and of course, he's wasting a lot of your time with the remnants. And of course, eventually, he's gonna get the BKB, so he's gonna be double down annoying. Either way, Zero Tenacity, they gotta work with with this draft as soon as possible. I'm afraid they could be down to the same fate as previously. So far, it's been pretty even based on both sides. They're taking these microaggressions, let's just call them, across the map. They're yielding small results, but on the other side, pretty much the same thing is happening. So they're just counterweighing each other for the time being. TP out from Flacco, it's gonna be successful. Cooldown and no mana available for Yamich to throw in another disruption. Well, mid. SC. Another dual coil. Ooh, he was just about to drop the golem. As he was locked into coils, dancing around, Stoikov silenced up. They are eyeing for him next. Nice jump up on high ground. But Norma, he is still rolling, wants to close him, but he's gonna get out of the ball. What was the part who almost threw away the chaotic offering? Got a pretty much free kill.
Dire's bottom tower is
Flacco
under attack.
almost as well. He almost fell a couple of minutes earlier. But now he's venturing forth a little bit deeper into enemy territory and utilizing his haste for some extra vision. And Stoikov got up once again. No Fatal Monster is going to scare him off. Fernance might die in the process, but I don't think so. He's going to pop the Shadow Realm right on point. Oh, actually, he's going to tick away. Yeah, you might have the Fatal Bonds, but you actually do have the damage coming in from the poison stacks. Still, nevertheless, a support for a core. It's never the good trade offer. Good thing is, I mean, for both carries, neither of them are currently interrupted, so they are on the safe course towards rushing their second bigger items. The farming items have been obtained, the Battle Fury is up and operational onto the Troll. So right now focus is on getting his BKB. Whereas for Nande, well, it's gonna be Blink and the BKB. Now that the Echo Saber has been completed. But one problem that you have currently as the Sven, even more so compared to previous game, next level can easily run off and hide. And Zero Tenacity, they don't have a classic way of holding things all together. They don't have a black hole, they don't have an arena, they don't have a coil of their own or anything of that sorts. And aside with being elusive heroes, the Puck and the Dark Willow, I don't know. The Sven might be a huge inflation shock for Zero Tenacity, which might yield no results. Meanwhile, Fernance, he's gonna go on a deep scout mission just to get the golem in his face. I mean, a kill's a kill. But did you really have to go that far with committing a,
Radiant's middle tower
well,
is under attack.
160-second cooldown for it? Not really sure. But it could get actually better. Nande getting a catch on to Norma. But he's gonna turn things around instantly. He turns into a boulder. Go wide, popping in. They're gonna root Nande. Reinforcements coming in from Zero Tenacity. They're not gonna let this one fly. Nice disruption coming in. Flacco is there. She's gonna sing the song of the Sirens. They want to take down Zero Tenacity and they want these kills really badly. Nande will die along with Bessie. We'll get a lock on to 2 Norma. Swatch will flee from the side. Yamish will fall as well. Flacco, the lady, will die, but she did her bidding. Norma will fall, however. It's 2v2. Will raise this. You want to go for more. Terrorize. He's gonna cancel it out. And they're done for the day. 3-4-2. Those are fair odds for next level. I mean, it was that beautiful Naga setup, which made things a lot more manageable. I completely overlooked the fact that next level they knew what they were up against. They had Nante a little bit far within their lane. And they went in for the long detour, clapped them into a sandwich, and were able to take down 3. Even though Norma did die into the process. But the Pango, he had a long time of being effective. I mean, as long as he's in the boulder, as long as he has mana, and is off of cooldown to swashbuckle, he's a huge menace to deal with. The Fusel Blade has been equipped from the previous team fight. Eyes onto the Blink Dagger up next, so he's gonna get even more so close and personal. Meanwhile, Nefer committing for a jump. Nice catch, almost onto the puck. Rooted up, dual raise. Will be forced to throw in the coil. Oh, nice blink away. He's closing in the fatal bonds. They are ticking. Are they gonna get one more strike? Oh, the puck. Dual raise. He's out, but Yamich once again. That sneaky Shadow Demon will throw in that last strike to say goodbye. As dual race has fallen in that all huge commitment coming in from Zero Tenacity. But it was a good one either way.
Dire's middle tower
Can they go out for more after this tower? They could be good with the tower. With that, they're gonna open up the upper portion of the map and try to hinder down Yawai. He has been AFK farming for quite a while now. And yeah, he's about 750 gold away from getting that BKB, so that's gonna be a little bit more disgusting. He had a couple of notable appearances during this game, and he has gotten all 1 kill and 1 assistance out of it. No deaths so far, but the next strike I do believe is gonna be a little bit more disgusting. Stoikov, as I said, a little bit more productive and proactive onto the Ember Spirit. He's been doing, just plain old annoying things. Opted in for the Blade Mail as the first option to try to counter with the minimal damage that next level have incoming. And he will go in for Sanjin Yasha build, so going in full-in carry build here. Not from what we have seen usually, like the Witch's Blade and stuff like that. And speaking of, he's messing down bottom a little bit there as Flacco. He will be forced to pop the song. Blocked in, right into his own jungle. Feared up, locked in with the crown. Thrown into the pinball machine, and he has fallen. Flacco barely lives, but the poison stacks are coming up. It will pop the Stampede, and Siren has fallen once more.
Radiant's middle tower is under
A costly
attack.
investment to keep Stoikov alive. But still, next level are keeping him under control. So that's a little bit of a something. And yep, there's the first BKB popping up. And it's on to Yawai. Next up is the good old Scepter. Still gives him a pretty good addition to the whirling axis. Dual race. Caught up mid. It feels like a pattern so far there's gonna be one trade-off between, well, both sides. Afterwards, dual rays will fall, and Zero Tenacity will try to push in. So far, this has happened twice. And Nefrid caught up down bottom. Okay, this time, next level, they are willing to strike back. Yowai, he did pop in the BKB a little bit too soon there, which leaves him vulnerable, but the golem has been expended as well. So there's not much they can fear from a random surprise popping in. I mean, it's 19 minutes in, you're not going to be seeing a refresher onto the Warlock, even if you rushed into it. Still, they are going to be careful, but maybe nope. Initiating with Norma. There's going to be a blink away from Yamish, but they will get a lock onto SC. He's trying to stay alive with the Shadow Ward. That's not going to take him far. Still risk his life, threw the focus away from the rest of the team. Still Zero Tenacity. Will lose 2 in quite a short period of time. And this could further enable next level to do something more about this, especially with the Arcane Rune being pretty much snatched right in front of Yamich's nose. As they're gonna get off cooldown for the Battle Trance and for the song once again.
Radiant are scanning.
But do they want to commit for it? And Zero Tenacity are gonna be the ones taking a deep stance here. Even though Stoikov's courier has been scouted out by Flacco. This Naga, actually, does she need to be careful, or she can just jump in and throw in the song? Illusions are being thrown in. Next level, they know what's cooking. They're coming in with the smoke, and they will get a hold on to Yamich first. Zero Tenacity, yep, they're gonna be caught up. Flacco, he will find Stoikov, and he will find another one again. Booting him up, being in place, feared up, coiled up, and he is down. Closing in onto SC. Nietzsche will find, well, not Nietzsche, Nefrid will find the speed escape. But still, they will lose 3 along with the Termwinter. 21 minutes in, 5k onto the favor of Team Next Level, alongside with a score of 10 onto 13. They made this last team fight look insanely easy. Just being able to isolate the Shadow Demon, there was not much to worry about afterwards. You send him Flacco on, well, somewhat of a suicide mission. But second he sees somebody, he's gonna just throw in the song like an alarm. Everybody's gonna move, and he's gonna, you know, keep him focused for quite some time. I mean, it could be an issue now with Nande having the BKB, but it's still a trick that is gonna latch on to everybody else, while the rest of the team, they isolate the first target they want to take down. And the Shadow Demon has proven to be annoying with just throwing in the poison stacks out of nowhere. And hello! Bye-bye, Naga. 40 seconds without her, and another 75 seconds without the song.
Bottom tower is under attack.
1 minute with Zero Tenacity can move around freely. But will they find somebody? They could go in for Roche. Potentially, well, next level don't have much to respond with, but they are gonna have... I mean, they already have the Rolling Thunder, but just no mana available onto Norma. It's a risky shot. I guess either side wants to see the other team expend everything before they jump in. Even so, the thinking time is over. Next level are back into the game completely. And they could go in for the next strike. Illusions from the Naga are traveling across the board, all smoked up. And they are scouting up for potential targets. And we are seeing something happening in the mid lane. So far, they are using Yowai as bait. Main focus was onto this tower. They will commit forward and jump, stunned up. Is it gonna be enough? BKB will be popped up with the battle trance. Dual race to the backline. Finds the double coil onto Stoikov. But they will commit for the song right after. Is it a little bit too soon? Well, that is fine, as SC will fall. Stoikov jumping around, but not far enough remnants to take down anybody, but still, oh, he will barely. Actually, no, he's not gonna make it out of there alive, but he will take dual raise and Norma in the process just by jumping back and forth Flacco looking insanely low. Nande is still alive, closing, and Stormhammer. Bam, he's down. This time, Zero Tenacity. They had everything. They had the chaotic offering available. They had the stampede at the god string, so they were able to throw in a punch back at next level. Next level, they did a little bit of a bad overcommitment there, as they did throw in the Siren Song over the coil. I mean, they had the duration. They had two very juicy targets to work with. I mean, Stoikov was manageable during that point, and they wasted about 3 seconds during the song.
Dire's middle tower
Well, Nande
is under
was
attack.
venturing out in the backlines and just killing off targets, of course, during his BKB timing. I don't know, if they popped this song like 20 seconds later, it would have been far better. Now they just caused an awkward overlap and it really caused them the team fight. I mean, it was even out, but Nande stayed alive, he cleaned house completely. Yoi, was he lost in the process? Let me do a quick double check. Actually, he was not, but BO3 and Norma paid a little bit of a hefty price in the process. Yeah, we have yet to see what the next team fight is gonna bring, as things are pretty much far from over. We're finally seeing a little bit more of a dynamic play coming in from both sides. Nande venturing far forth. Boiled up, dual race, he wants to get a lock onto him or maybe force him to pop the BKB. Instead, they will get the stampede used up. A little bit of a game of cat and mouse. Surprisingly, 25 minutes in, neither side has contested Roche. And still neither side is just daring to do that. You're playing things really timely, just
Dire
across
are
the
scanning.
across the cooldowns, jump into a team fight, go back to farming, recheck your strength, do it again, do it again, do it again.
Dire's
And
middle
so far,
tower is under attack.
they are measuring each other to equal might.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
But I do believe that next level could do something more about this, because they have had a little bit of a slightly more reserved approach into this game. They haven't shown much, they haven't brought in Yoi. Every single time Yoi has shown up, he has wreaked havoc and caused devastation, pillaged villages and burned down churches or whatever. With so far a 306
Dire's
score to add up to it.
attack.
So they can either jump in for the next team fight and complement themselves afterwards with an Aegis, or take the high shot and jump into the pit first. As both sides, 26 minutes, 27 almost, are eyeing in for the pit. Both sides up and ready to go. 15 seconds until the stampede is available. But who's gonna make the catch? Of course, you don't want to fall into the pit first, because you don't know what's waiting for you. Zero Tenacity. Oh, they're gonna take a brave stance. Find Flacco. Oh, they're gonna fall in for the bait. 4 people locked into the silence. Okay, everybody, close it. It's time to party. Terrorize, locking in onto 3. Norma jumping in into the middle of things. They're gonna get a lock onto the Warlock. No Golem being used up. Actually, Yamich is gonna be dying first. They will pop the Golem and have things onto SC, but he will fall right after. Nefrit, everybody trying to get the hell out of there. No supports are available. Gonna make things tough. Stoikov jumping in once again, gets a lock on to Flacco. Now he's ticking on to Nande. They get a lock on to Sven, who still hasn't popped the BKB, but he will pop it for the sweet escape. 3 down. Stoikov has been taken out of the picture as well. Oh boy. The second they thought they found somebody, it was the worst target you could have hoped for. It was Flacco. Man, that was so bad. He knew that they were potentially gonna, ward up there, and just went in straight to the corner. He realized, smokes are going off. Somebody is here. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let me sing you the song of my people. And we're out. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, I genuinely thought they took down the Warlock first, but it was Yamich who fell first. Better prioritize the Shadow Demon, because he's gonna be actively causing havoc. The more he's alive, the more bigger of a problem he's gonna be throughout the team fight. The Warlock, he has only one thing to do: throw the Fatal Bonds and throw in the Golem. They did lose him, and, the Golem got thrown out, but without the Fatal Bonds, it was a far more manageable scenario. And the fact that Nande was completely out of the team fight made things a lot easier for them. So, free Aegis, free kill, next level. They got about 7k net worth advantage in these past minute and a half. So it's looking like the strong hit is about... it's coming up. Unless Zero Tenacity find a good way to respond to this. We are looking at a 2-0 scenario. And so far, these teams repeating their history. Zero Tenacity facing a loss so far, and next level having a win. It's their second game so far. There's a lot more for them, and especially there's a lot more of Group B action to watch, so... as we have expended a little bit too many teams in Group A. Still, after this, there's one more match to watch. We're gonna be having the back-to-back champions for Pirates facing off, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's gonna be versus Quantum. And those are teams of completely different calibers. Quantum already having a very difficult time with this season as well, so... they are gonna need to double down on these next couple of matches if they want to survive the group stage. Or if not, you know, they're gonna be falling off sooner than expected. But anyhow, things have been pretty calm so far. With just... I believe it was just one actually pick off onto SC and a tower takedown. So, team next level, you're just actively utilizing this Aegis just to push it across the lanes, get a little bit more of map control going on. Because remember, kills and farms are temporary, objectives are permanent, so how much, whatever damage you can do, just absolutely do it. Take down towers, take down tormentors, take down everything you can. That's gonna hurt, well, a lot more. But yeah, this troll, I kinda did underestimate his might and strength. And yeah, he is a single target extravaganza when he builds up that insane attack speed. But yeah, this game allows him to have it. And also Nande seems to be a very manageable target, as he is once again... well, of course, as a carry you're always more dependent on anybody else. Well, based on any other position. But trolls he can live through. The lower he is, the better of a time he's gonna have. Sven, when he gets below 50%, unless he has a Satanic to pump him back up, we're looking at that mead. And that Satanic is, well, not gonna come anytime soon. As it's gonna be that good old Harpoon build with the Swift Blink that we're gonna be seeing. Shards is gonna be given to the troll, so now we have the upgraded Fervor as well, with the additional 2% chance per Fervor stack of firing an additional ranged attack. I mean, it doesn't seem like the most out there, but when you realize how many times you can start hitting per minute, there's gonna be a lot of loose projectiles flying across. I mean, it's just like a built-in gunslinger passive ability from where to here. And yeah, without any contest and about 10 seconds left on the clock for the Aegis. Yeah, why? He's cleaning racks, Zero Tenacity. They are feeling fearful, but they can commit. Still, everything was timely coming in from Team Next Level. So they're gonna get the hell out of there before Zero Tenacity can even think about anything to do here. So yeah, they're gonna breach high ground first, take down the first set of racks with absolutely zero contest to it. Second time, they may or may not be so lucky. As Zero Tenacity, they were a little bit busy being outside of the map, maybe going in for... I mean, they have 4 buybacks available, but as we all know, second you start throwing in the buybacks for the first defense, you're gonna be the team that's gonna lose, unless a miracle happens in the upcoming team fight and you don't lose anybody for a dieback.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So next level,
Radiant's middle
they're
tower
gonna go in
is under
for another siege onto high ground once more. Patiently waiting in the back with 4 people smoked up. They wanna have Zero Tenacity jump into their trap once again. They wanna have Flacco just jumping in out of nowhere and throwing in Tom the Siren. And they will find Norma first, but actually they're gonna be coiled up even though Norma falls. Damage will follow up. They will throw in the golem, so supports once again being traded off. The song is gonna be popped a little bit later, but 2 bigger targets are being caught up. There's gonna be a buyback coming in on SC. They're gonna check only what's happening, as without Norma, they don't have much to do. Nande reinitiates it, leads Blacko onto the spot. They're gonna call it. Next level, they are gonna respect Zero Tenacity, as they got a huge amount of value out of that team fight, even though they lost 2 in the process. They did force out a buyback onto the Warlock. They did force out a big ultimate to be used up. I mean, they forced up a lot of big ultimates to be used up just for the takedown of Norma. But still, they bid their time. They weren't willing to reinitiate once again, as they did use up the song, they did use up the Bedlam and the Terrorize. And without the control, they cannot set things up really nicely for UI, and expending the BKB is gonna be your last resort. It is down to 6 seconds at this point, so you cannot really force out, to push in. It's rather a little bit smarter to use it for the defense. Next Roshan, we're gonna know in about 20 seconds from now. But definitely a worthy contest for either side. As definitely both sides are gonna either have a team fight before that or during it. So we're gonna see if it's gonna be a long one or a short one. Zero Tenacity trying to push back the control of the top lane they've lost. But you gotta be super careful about that. They have lost Stoikov once during those deep sieges. Pray tell not for them to, lose him once again. As the Ember Spirit is always a great pacemaker and, dictating the tempo between the team fights, isolating the supports, and making life a living hell. But next level are doing a little bit better of a job at it. Like, every single team fight, we are seeing SC and Yamich falling first, with 0 to barely any effort. I mean, yeah, we will see the golem going through, but what can you work with? You've lost your disruption, you've lost your annoyance and grievances coming in from the Shadow Demon. You don't have the fatal bonds to distribute the damage, so Nandi is losing in half the potential. Yeah, he still has the cleave available, but you don't have much to hold things on together. You do have the rest of the crew forced to jump in face to face without any backup. And item-wise, I mean, we're still not seeing those super big defensive items. We do have a Force Staff available onto the Shadow Demon, which is a huge need. But at the same time, on the other side, we have the Naga with the Guardian Greaves available, and that's a huge item for you to work with. A little bit of an extra kick, and it's gonna keep everybody alive. And also there's some extra defensive popping up individually on the players. We have the Nullifier available onto the Pango. We have the Satanic available onto the Troll, so it is gonna be ugly, for sure. And he is amping it for a blessing to add up to afterwards. Roche number 2, up and available. Next level, they're not gonna think about it twice. Instantly commit into the pit. Zero Tenacity, they hear the roar. And what are they gonna do about it? Next level, they will step out to assess the situation. If Zero Tenacity are gonna commit or not. As Nefrit, he has been spotted up into the mid lane. UI thinking he has enough time to build up those fervor stacks and keep up with the fighting. Stoikov closes in, jumps in. They realize their time is ticking. UI is still in the pit. Are they gonna go for more? On the sidelines, people are hunting each other down, but nobody's dying just yet. UI, the remnant is there. Stoikov can jump at any moment, but the rest of the team, they find him. He is gonna be forced out to Glimmer a win. Shadow Ward up. One more strike. Aegis has been claimed. Stoikov is a little bit too late. Yamich, oh, he will jump in as well and dies down. BKB popped up, but to no extent. Dual Race will clean them both. Oh boy. This was insanely suspenseful coming in from Yowai. I mean, it was a high risk, high reward type of a play once again. As the Emperor is always lurking at the sidelines waiting to commit for the jump. But next level, they had things calculated really nicely. They knew exactly where to expect him from. And with hindering him a couple of times, he did commit eventually for the jump. But they knew, you know, he was gonna do it either way. And they got the Aegis without losing Roche. And it's time for Rax number 2. 30 seconds without Stoikov, they're not committing with his buyback. They're gonna wait it out, but that's a lot of damage coming in from Yowai. He can't even, I mean, personally he can't commit for more. But I guess next level are gonna respect his ult. Targets have been found in backlines. The Golem will connect, Norma will be taken down, instantly forcing out a buyback. The song coming in from Flacco, Yowai, SC. They can't take down the Warlock here. Pops the Ghost Scepter, but it's not going to be enough to keep them alive. Norma coming back into the fight. They've bought enough time for the Pango to return with the Rolling Thunder. As Yamish will fall, Jinx onto Nefert. The Centaur will be caught up. Leashed up. It's just going to be him so far. But he will be forced to use everything. BKB, Blade Mail, everything. But he's rooted up, kept in place. Even though he's a big tanky machine, will fall either way. With just 2 on the defense lines, 0 tenacity, they are lacking any responses here. No God Strength, no Stampede, no Golem, no nothing. They are going to be forced to watch their last set of Rex die. Unless they can do a miracle in 30 seconds from now. But I don't know. They did force out Norma to buy back, but it was about that control from next level that kept things all together. There was enough time for the Song of the Siren to go through. It was enough time for the Pango to jump in behind the minion lines and reinitiate once more. It was absolutely disgusting. Stoikov, last man standing, and he's being actively kept up under harassment as Yowai. He's taking down the tier 4s. There's absolutely nobody to save us. 30 seconds remaining until Nefert comes back. No fortification, no nothing available. Stoikov, he's looking down and dead. Buybacks are being committed. They want to throw everything they have to commit for one more time. Nande, they will face off in a duel versus Yowai, but it seems like he's gonna fall. One by one, they will be playing, but CG will be called for the second time, ladies and gentlemen. And Team Next Level, they will obtain a full serious victory over 0 Tenacity at their respective group within the group stage of the European Pro League Season 27. I mean, it was a really, really balanced up match until it fell apart. But, I mean, it was all to the draft once again. 0 Tenacity, they had a little stronger of an idea, but the forcing out onto the Sven means they're gonna attribute a lot of resources for something they cannot really hold on, you know, a game for. Once again, they had a lack of control. They had a lack of solid team fight. And, yeah, the rest is history. But yeah, we are far from over, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be taking a little bit of a longer break until 8 o'clock CST, but we will continue with 4 Pirates facing off versus Quantum Team, which, as I said, is going to be a difficult matchup for Quantum. As 4 Pirates, there are the back-to-back winners of the European Pro League, so, and Quantum have been completely on the other side, so let's hope things are about to change. See you after the break.